It's a pleasure to be here with you again. So Doug was talking about the future. I'm going to take you to the past a little bit for a few seconds. When I was a kid, this is one of the first word processors that I used. Some of you may have used it as well. It was a great word processor. Something that was very interesting at the time is that in the real state of the screen, right, if you notice about 50% of the screen was used just telling you the instructions, just how to use the word processor, right? This is very, very expensive, right, or very valuable real estate. Why would they do that, right? At the time, you know, we were all new to our personal computer, and this was important to them so that you knew and learned how to use the machine. A few years later, they were presented with a challenge, or an opportunity, perhaps. Graphical user interfaces came to be. You may remember using a product like Windows 3.1. And think of the program manager for the WordStar application, right? They had to decide, do I take all my engineering resources and actually go and modify everything so that it works on graphical user interfaces? Am I going to be the first penguin to make the leap? That's the kind of decision that they were making, right? And I can understand sometimes it's hard to change. But as Doug was also mentioning, making that change can also help you and put yourself in a leadership position. In the case of WordStar, they didn't make the leap, and none of us use WordStar today. Maybe some of you, but I don't know. So, but these waves continue to occur. Just a few years later after that, we saw the rise of natural user interfaces, right? This is the Surface Table machine. This was one of the first commercial touch devices on the market. And these are actually my kids. They came to work, and there was a puzzle game there, and I didn't tell them how to use the machine. Now, when we were defining the interface for these machines, we figured we will simplify the user experience, right? We use metaphors with the physical world. In this case, my kids came, looked at the pieces, and then they started moving them because they knew how to build a puzzle in the real world, right? So once again, there were transitions. Some companies or products had to make a decision to make a shift to natural user interfaces. Today, we all carry a natural user interface in our pockets. And those companies and product teams that decided to make the transition, they became leaders, right? So I will dare say that we are today at the beginning of a new wave of opportunity, also a wave of change. For the first time, we are not the ones to learn to interact with the machine. For the first time, we're actually telling machines to learn to interact with us, right? What if machines could understand our language? What if machines could learn from experiences? What if they could have the context? Oops, sorry, I'm clicking too fast. What if machines had the context to understand what we're looking at, what they're looking at, and understand really what they are seeing, understand what's happening, and then react to that, right? So we are at the beginning of this new era, and the reason is three things happened and came together. One of them, we have more data than ever, right? And a lot of it lives in the cloud and mobile devices. We have the ability to do tons of processing, right? Today, any startup can command a data center from their basement, right? And best of all, they don't have to buy all this machinery. They really just pay for it while they are using it, right? So we have computation, we have data, and then the third part of this equation is machine learning algorithms, advanced algorithms that allow us to learn from that data. So these three things came together, and really it's in the last few years that we have been able to put all of this together to create magical experiences and learn from that. This is what we call sometimes machine learning and advanced analytics. And last time when I came here, this is a slide that I copied from that deck, because it is still our vision to, in a sense, make advanced analytics and machine learning something that is not just something that we dream about, not something that companies like Microsoft can do. We want it to be accessible to each of you. We want it to be valuable to you. Now, it can be valuable and useful to you, and we have created the tools for you to do it. Our intelligent cloud built on Azure allows you to learn from data, whether it's produced by humans, whether it's produced by a bunch of sensors, right? And then go to intelligent action, right? Perform an action based on the insights that we get from that data, right? Once again, the action itself can be done by humans. Maybe it's you learning, oh, perfect, I know exactly where we're going to be next year, and I am going to invest on these products, or I am going to start this program with my customers, right? Or it could be performed by machines as well, completely automated. And in the middle, it's really a suite of products that we have created to enable you to do that. Now, this can be used to solve very real-world problems: customer churn prediction, recommendation systems, demand forecasting, fraud prediction. Very, very real problems that we may have, not only for retail, right? We may want to understand how to improve our health through machine learning as well, how to improve the quality of life that we have. Now, I would like to share with you an experience. This is Starship Commander. It's a startup. It's a startup that created this. It's a game, but I am going to show you how they use natural language to improve the experience of the game. So let's go here.
So think about this. How often are you alive when the dawn of a new medium comes out? I knew that I had to be a part of VR because there are no rules for what VR should be. Starship Commander is a choose-your-own-adventure VR narrative that uses natural language processing, so you can actually have a real conversation with the characters.
I'm Sergeant Sarah Pearson. I've been assigned to your wing today.
When we started making Starship Commander, we had to figure out how do we get technology that can understand what a person's saying so that we can have these new narrative experiences. We're a science fiction game. We come up with new words. No off-the-shelf software could let us put in custom words.
Who are the Acnians?
In our story, the bad guys are called the Acnians. And every time we said Acnian, we would come up with really weird words that were similar to other things that you would say. And so it would get confused all the time. So we needed to make sure that we could supply our own script. We started using Microsoft Cognitive Services to power the backend of Starship Commander.
Looks cool.
Once we plugged custom speech service into Starship Commander, I had tears in my eyes when I was playing it because it's like, oh my god, this is it. This is the experience we want. Open the hatch.
Voice print accepted. Welcome, Commander.
You can essentially put your script in there and it knows, oh, these are the ways that people are going to talk. And these are the phrases that they're going to say.
Cool. What's my mission?
Must be something pretty important.
And then the second thing, too, was the intent detection. With Lewis, you basically give it a couple statements. After you give it a couple statements, you crunch it, and you start typing in your own statements, and it's shockingly scary how good it picks up, even stuff that you didn't put in there.
Computer, use autopilot, and let's be on our way.
Autopilot engaging.
I've never seen an opportunity like this, where there's a wide open playing field, no one's written the rules yet, there's going to be tons of amazing software out there, and I just can't wait to see what other people write.
Great. Let me stop this, otherwise we're going to watch the next YouTube video, and I don't want to do that. So let's, now, they use cognitive service for language understanding. LS Retail is also using a cognitive service to understand recommendations and provide product recommendations. Just like that, there are many, many other scenarios in which we can use machine learning and advanced analytics and apply it to our business today. You may remember the last connection where I actually brought some people on the screen and showed some recommendations based on face recognition, on how old they look. So, for instance, here in this case, the system is able to recognize my age and gender, and even in this case, because it knows what I look like, it realizes that this is Luis who is speaking right now. It says that I look neutral right now. If I smile, it will even say that I am happy. Consider how you may modify your shopping experience by understanding really who is coming to your stores, right? What age, what gender, how do they feel when they are coming into the store? Even better, how do they feel when they are coming out of the store, right? And then have really this rich information about what's going on in each of your stores, right? So now I wanted to focus on a different area of cognitive services today. So we talked about vision last time. I want to focus on language understanding, just like the Starship Commander guys did. So at Microsoft, we have a week of the year where we can build anything we want. So we call it the 1 week experience, and I decided to take 2 or 3 days of that to build my own bot. And I figured, wouldn't it be nice if when I am away from the office, I had a bot that could take care of business for me? So, replace me in a sense. I don't know if I'm going to put myself out of a business. We'll see. So I created a little bot. This is the UF bot, and I am using it from Microsoft Teams. And you can ask it questions such as, where is Luis? And it will say, well, he's at this trip, and he's coming on a certain date. And you can even ask it things like, because I am not there, and people may need to know about some of the cognitive services, so they could say something like, who knows about, let's say, text analytics? Maybe they want to do some sentiment analysis. And so I have trained a language model such that it takes some time for my bot to wake up. There we go. So it's really true that it goes to sleep. Anyway, so now then it will provide us who is an expert in text analytics, and then even though I'm not in the office, they can go and resolve their problems with, in this case, Nagi Parimi, who is one of the engineers in that team, right? Now, when people talk to a bot, you don't know how they are going to talk to it, right? It's not like there are only so many options. So the concept here is that you want to train a language model that is rich enough so that if people ask the same questions in different manners, that it will still be able to answer those questions. So for instance, I'm going to ask the same question twice. I'm going to ask, I don't know, I need documentation on, let's say, recommendations. Okay, so then it provides me a link to the recommendations system, and I will say, so it was good, it realized that. Is it useful to you? I'll say yes. I'll ask the same question in a different way. Perhaps I could ask something like, where are the dogs for Alaska? I will ask for something else. I don't know, computer vision, let's say. So I use a different sentence, right? And now it's sending me to the computer vision documentation, just the same, right? Even though the sentences were different. The model is able to extrapolate and create a model so that it understands what people are saying and classify those intents appropriately. And it can even ask questions, right? It says, is it helpful to you? I will say no this time. And then it can escalate and send me to Cornelia, who is an expert in computer vision. So now, let's take a more realistic scenario. So this is the case of an insurance company. Let me refresh it. And think of, this could be any kind of company really, right? Where you can talk to an agent, right? But let's say you can only afford to pay 3 or 4 agents, right? But you're going to have scale. You're going to make tons of sales and so forth. So you want a bot to help you with the groundwork at the beginning, right? So it says, how can I help you today? Let me say I need insurance. And then it's able to identify what the sentence means and then provide an answer. More specifically, if I go to my slide, what it does is it's creating a new contextual way to talk to me, right? It's a new canvas where I can converse with the customer, right? I don't believe this new wave of technology will replace graphical user interfaces or even some of the natural interfaces that we use, but it's a new channel by which we can engage with the customer, right? Just like we did in the chat, it's contextual, right? As I start typing, it will remember what I did previously, and it will be able to use that context to provide better service for me. When I ask for insurance, right, what I did is, in a sense, provide an intent, right? I need a policy of insurance, right? And just like these questions, they are examples of intents. Who is X? Where do they live? There are many, many different intents that we could program or bot to solve, right? Not only that, but it will also need to understand the entities in those intents, right? Such as John, Sue, and Erica in these questions, right? Once we have these two pieces, then we can do magic. Let's continue talking to our insurance bot and see how it continues to have this conversation with us, understanding intent, and then responding to us accordingly. So what kind of insurance do I need? I could not only say auto insurance, but it can even provide some nice interface for me. So I can actually click here and just select one of the options, right? So I need a car insurance. In this demo, we are actually connected to a real dynamic system, a dynamic CRM system. So it's actually asking me if I am an existing customer. And I will put the name of a person that is in that system, in this case, Lance Olson. And then it's going to ask for my ID. So let's do that as well. These are very simple questions, right? And sometimes we have somebody in customer support simply just going through a script. It's not a very dignified job for a human, really. But the bot doesn't complain. So, OK, so now something that I should say is it went to the CRM system. It was able to understand context from that. It realized that Lance has a 16-year-old daughter, and then it asks, do you want her to be on the policy, right? So I will say yes. By the way, now we can also see Lance's picture because it has that context as well, right? And I need to provide some information about the vehicle because it needs to create a quote accordingly, right? Ideally, there will be a machine learning model that will check the risk of that vehicle getting into an accident and take that into consideration as well, right? Not just Lance's history of driving. It's asking me for a photo of the car. That's because it wants to have some picture before I run into an accident, I guess. So I will say, yes, I have a photo of the car, and then I will provide it here. I will just provide an image of the car. And I guess it's uploading there. Oh, but I made a mistake. I actually uploaded a picture of Harry Potter instead. Must be because I'm very nervous. And actually, the machine is able to understand that that's not a car. It says this doesn't look like a car. It looks like more like Daniel Radcliffe sitting on a stage. Sitting on a stage to me. So that's what it looks like to it. That's because it uses computer vision, right? OK, so let's provide a real picture of a car now. And it's going to use computer vision again to analyze if that does look like a car. and validate that it has the actual image, right? So there is my nice Ford Fusion, and it says, oh, that looks great, nice purchase, right? That's wonderful. So now it says that that's all the information it needs, and then it can do its calculations. Maybe it will even look at how good the car looks in order to provide a quote for me. And it provided a quote. It's $146.50 per month, and it tells me, what do you think? And I'm going to say, it's too expensive. Now, robots or automata are very good at understanding language now, but there are some tasks that humans are a little bit better at. So this is a fair situation, right? Negotiation, that can be very subtle and tricky. So in this case, the bot realizes, ooh, that's out of my league, and I am going to escalate to Jane. She's our top negotiator, and now, by the way, she doesn't have to worry about all the other questions, so she's totally just on negotiation mode the whole time, right? And that's wonderful. So it connected to Jane. Let me show you what Jane sees on her side of the screen. So this is the Dynamics 365 installation, and as you can see, it has Lance's information. Not only that, but it acquired the information about the vehicle, and it estimated how much that car costs based on the year and so forth. It can even have the context about the conversation that went on already, so that she can continue that conversation with that context, making her very efficient, right? So this is how we can see humans and bots helping each other, right, to provide a better experience for the customer. Now, I could even, the bot can even understand other languages. So for instance, here I said Guten Morgen, and then it answered in German, and I am not going to try to read the German there. But let's try something else. I'm going to use the Translate API to feed it some Japanese. Okay, so I fed it Japanese, and then it answered in Japanese. And I love this part because no one realizes what's going on. It could say whatever, and I am still good. So let's see. What if I talk to it? Watashi wa. Oh, sorry, let me try again. Ohayo gozaimasu. Okay, perfect. So it speaks Japanese, right? But there is more. So now, because my bot is keeping track of all these conversations, right? It can keep track of things such as the sentiment of the discussion, the key phrases being used, where people are calling from, and so forth. And yes, this is a demo, but I wanted to show the point, right? So I can see, let's say, the global activity, and I can see a red spot in Australia, let's say. Yesterday there was a presentation on Power BI, so this is a nice usage of Power BI as well. And let's see what's going on. So here I can see the kind of the words that are used with most frequency, but I can select just Australia. And when I do that, I quickly realize there are some keywords such as expensive and Contoso insurance, right? What happens is that, unfortunately, in Australia, the Contoso insurance companies, which is one of my competitors, they have a really good deal, right? So everyone thinks that I am expensive there. But I can very quickly react because now I have the insights, and maybe I can start a new offer in Australia, right? So we can see how we can use bots and cognitive services to do things that will have been hard in the past, things that will feel a little bit like magic, right? But now we can redefine our experiences, right? Thanks to these capabilities. Now, let me just skip this. Alan Key said that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. You were talking about what a futurist is, right? Let's invent the future together. we have technology, and we hope that you do take that step of faith to be pioneers in this new era. Thank you very much.